The day the sky died, HFY Sci-Fi revenge. 3 billion dead now. Earth's real monsters wake up. The sky was blue when it began. Clear, bright, normal. Children laughed in parks. People worked in tall buildings. Planes flew across the sky. Earth was at peace. No one knew it was the last normal day in human history. At exactly 9:07 a.m., the first shadow appeared over New York City. A massive alien ship, black like burned metal, blocked out the sun. It did not speak. It did not give warnings. It just fired. A white beam came down like lightning. In seconds, buildings melted. Cars flew through the air like toys. People screamed, but their voices were swallowed by the fire. 1 million humans died in less than 5 minutes. All over the world, more ships arrived. London, Tokyo, Islamabad, Cairo, Mexico City. The sky wasn't blue anymore. It was red, black, and full of fire. Earth's armies tried to fight. Jets flew. Missiles launched, but nothing worked. The alien ships were too fast, too strong. They moved like ghosts. They hit like gods. In 1 week, 3 billion people were dead. Hospitals were gone. Governments fell. The internet stopped. Cities became smoke and dust. People hid underground, in forests, in caves. They had no food, no hope. But deep under the ice, in Antarctica, something opened its eyes. A siren screamed in a dark bunker. Red lights flashed. Inside a long hallway, machines powered up after years of silence. A female voice echoed through the steel walls. Project WRAITH. Activation Protocol Omega. Inside glass pods, human-shaped figures floated. Their eyes were closed. Their bodies were not normal. They were tall, armored, engineered. They were the WRAITHs, Earth's hidden monsters. Years ago, scientists knew a threat might come from space, but they couldn't tell the world, so they created a secret plan, a last defense. Soldiers without fear, without mercy, built for war, locked away, in case Earth needed them. And now Earth did. Pod number 1 opened. A man stepped out, water dripping from his skin. His body was covered in smooth black armor. His eyes glowed faint red. He looked human, but colder, sharper. He opened his mouth and spoke, voice calm and quiet. Status report. Another voice answered from a nearby machine. Earth population reduced by 42%. Confirmed enemy contact. Full invasion active. The man clenched his fist. His name was Commander Riven, leader of the WRAITH program. He looked around. Other pods began to open. 10, 20, 50, his brothers and sisters soldiers, made from Earth's darkest dreams, were waking up. Who gave the order? Riven asked. The voice replied, all command centers destroyed. Order given by failsafe. Protocol. You are now in control. Commander Riven walked toward a black wall. He touched it. A hidden door opened, revealing rows of weapons, ancient, powerful, and human-made. He picked up a blade, simple, clean, deadly. Then let's begin, he said. If Earth has fallen, let them meet what comes after the fall. Far above Earth, the alien fleet watched silently. One commander of the alien species called the Zarn looked down at the burning planet. Humans were weaker than expected, the Zarn general said. They die easily, another replied. They scream, they run. But something changed. One of the Zarn ships disappeared. No explosion, no warning, just gone. Another ship lost all communication. Then, from the surface of Earth, a signal came through. A simple message, one word, run. The Zarn looked at each other, confused, worried. No human had the power to break through their signal shields. What had Earth released? In a broken city, 3 alien scouts moved through the ruins. They scanned buildings. They found no threats. Suddenly, one turned around and saw a shadow. Too late. A blade cut through the air, clean and fast. The alien dropped. The second tried to raise its weapon, but a black-armored hand crushed its throat before it could fire. The third screamed. It tried to run, but a voice echoed in its ear, cold and human. This is not your planet. This is your grave. Then silence. Deep underground, Commander Riven stood on a platform. His wraiths gathered around him. This isn't war, he said. This is a message. He looked up at the ruined surface on the screen. They thought killing billions would break Earth, but they didn't break us. They woke us. He raised his blade. Let's show them what monsters really are. They built the monsters for this day. HFY Sci-Fi Revenge. 3 billion dead now Earths. Real monsters wake up. Word count, approximately 800. Simple English. Third person. The night was quiet over the desert ruins of Nevada. Fires still burned in the distance. Alien warships hovered in the sky, scanning for life. But deep below the sand, in an old military lab hidden from all maps, history breathed again. It was not a lab. It was a prison. A place where monsters were made and locked away. Not aliens. Humans. Wraith program had been Earth's final secret. Created 70 years ago after a mysterious signal reached Earth from deep space. No one knew what the signal meant, but it scared the smartest minds on the planet. Governments came together in silence. They built a plan. They didn't trust armies. They didn't trust machines. They wanted something else, something cold, controlled and unbreakable. They wanted monsters with a human heart. The scientists worked underground, hidden from the public. They took volunteers, some soldiers, some prisoners, some orphans. They enhanced them, changed them, made them faster, stronger, smarter. They removed fear, removed weakness. But something unexpected happened. The wraiths didn't become machines. They remembered everything. Commander Riven stood in the dim command room. His black armor reflected the low light. Behind him, his Team 30 wraiths stood, still like statues, but inside they were angry. I remember the fire, said WRAITH 7, a tall woman with silver eyes. They hit my city first. My family died in the first strike. WRAITH 3, a large soldier with arms like metal walls, nodded. Slowly. My brother was on the moon colony. He's gone. Riven stepped forward. His voice was like a blade, quiet, but sharp. Good, he said. Let the pain guide you. Let it shape your anger. But don't let it blind you. He turned to the giant display on the wall. Alien ship locations, movement patterns, weapon analysis. It updated in real time. We are not soldiers. We are not heroes, Riven said. We are what Earth made when it ran out of hope. He looked at each wraith. They didn't build us to save. They built us to end. The Zarn had no word for regret. In their language, weakness was shame. Mercy was failure. So when the first alien base on Earth went dark, they felt only confusion. Then fear. Inside that base were over 100 Zarn warriors. Trained killers. Weapons unmatched. But when the rescue ship arrived, they found only ashes, and a message burned into the wall. In English. We are awake. The Wraith strike was clean, fast, brutal. They didn't fight like normal humans. They didn't hide. They moved through walls, used shadows like weapons, and disappeared before alarms rang. The aliens didn't understand. 1 minute they were confident. The next, they were prey. Somewhere in the ashes of an old city, a lone human boy hid in a broken metro station. His parents were gone. He hadn't eaten in 2 days. His body was thin, his eyes wide with fear. He heard a noise. Footsteps. He grabbed a pipe. It was all he had. He held it tight and waited. But instead of an alien, a figure in black armor stepped into the light. The boy froze. The figure knelt down and held out something. Bread. The boy stared, then slowly reached for it. The WRAITHs said nothing, but before leaving, he placed a small device in the boy's hand. "If danger comes," he said, "press the red button." Then he vanished. The WRAITHs were not just killing, they were watching, protecting Dot, and Earth was beginning to hope again. Back in orbit, the Zarn High Commander screamed at his officers. "These creatures," he spat. "They have no fleet, no planets, no numbers. How are they winning?" An officer replied with fear in his voice. "They don't follow rules. They don't retreat. They don't sleep." The High Commander's eyes widened. "What have we awakened?" Back in the bunker, Commander Riven stood before a new target, a massive alien ship factory near the Pacific coast. It was building more weapons fast. "We hit it next," he said. WRAITHs-9 raised an eyebrow. "Too many guards, too heavy defenses." Riven smiled for the first time. "Then we hit harder." He walked out, blade in hand. This wasn't just war anymore. This was a message. The First Strike of the Dead. HFY Sci-Fi Revenge. 3 billion dead now Earths. Real monsters wake up. Word count, approximately 800. Simple English. Third person, the Pacific coast was quiet, too quiet. Above the water, a giant alien shipyard floated like a black wound in the sky. Machines moved non-stop. Drones flew. Alien soldiers guarded every gate. The Zarn were building something massive. They thought Earth had no strength left. They were wrong. Commander Riven stood on a cliff, looking down at the ocean. The wind pulled at his dark armor. His red eyes glowed softly in the night. Beside him, WRAITH-7 loaded a long rifle. Target confirmed. The shipyard is producing orbital cannons. If they finish, we lose the sky. WRAIT-3 cracked his knuckles. "How many guards?" "Over 2,000, she said. "And 3 dreadnoughts." Riven didn't blink. "Good." The other WRAITHs stood ready, silent shadows waiting to fall. "No survivors?" WRAIT-9 asked. Riven shook his head. "We leave a message, just like last time." A brief pause, then he raised his fist. "Strike hard, vanish fast, make them afraid." They, Zarn commander inside the shipyard, didn't expect trouble. Earth was broken after all. Just scattered humans, hiding like rats. Suddenly, alarms rang. Too late. The lights died. Doors slammed shut. Inside the main corridor, alien guards shouted, but their voices turned to screams. WRAITHs moved like ghosts. One appeared behind a Zarn, slicing its throat without a sound. Another dropped from a vent, blasting 2 guards before they hit the floor. In less than 3 minutes, 100 alien soldiers were dead. The WRAITHs didn't fight for glory. They fought like it was math. Fast. Clean. Merciless. Outside, WRAITH-7 climbed to the top of a control tower. Her scope focused on the fuel lines that fed the alien shipyard. Boom. One shot. A fireball exploded across the base. Metal screamed. The sky turned orange. From the cliff, Riven watched the flames rise. Then he whispered into the comms. Message. Delivered. An alien officer crawled through the smoke, wounded, gasping. In front of him, a human figure stepped through the fire. Riven. The alien growled. "You're just men. You can't stop us. You're weak." Riven said nothing. He just knelt beside the alien, stared into its terrified eyes, and whispered, "We're not men anymore. We're what your war made." Then he stood up and walked away. The alien coughed blood and saw something strange on the wall behind him. English. Words burned into the metal. This world belongs to the dead. And the dead don't forgive. In orbit, the Zarn High Council watched the burning wreck of their shipyard. One commander turned to the others. This is impossible. They had no armies left. Another replied, these are not soldiers. They are something else, something we didn't plan for. They replayed a video taken before the shipyard explosion. It showed a group of armored figures walking through smoke column, silent, fearless. The Zarn general paused the video. Zoomed in, he stared at Riven's face. Find this one, he said, and kill him, but inside. He felt doubt for the first time. Back on Earth, in a hidden valley far from any city, survivors gathered. They had no power, no food. Only stories. Old men spoke of flames. Children whispered about shadows in armor. A woman held her baby close and asked, is it true? Is someone fighting back? A man nodded. Yes, but they're not like us. What are they then? He looked up at the stars. Monsters, he said. Ours. Later that night, inside a small room deep underground, Riven sat alone. He took off his helmet. His face was hard, tired, human, but just barely. He looked at a small metal tag hanging around his neck. It had a name. Riven Unit 001 Wraith Prime. He touched it slowly. Not long ago, he was just a man. Now he was something else. And still, he remembered the screams, the fire, the 3 billion dead. That number lived inside him. Fuel for every step, every strike, every blade. Outside, the team prepared for the next mission. The Wraiths did not celebrate victory. They only moved forward, because this wasn't revenge. This was justice in armor. Tears in their eyes, fire in their hands. HFY Sci-Fi Revenge. 3 billion dead now. Earth's real monsters wake up. Word. Count. Approximately 800. Simple English. Third person. The sun was rising over what used to be a city. Now, it was just ash. Commander Riven walked through the ruins with 2 other Wraiths, Wraith 7 and WRAITHs 3. Their boots stepped on broken toys, cracked stone and bones half buried in the dust. No voices, no movement. Just silence. Then WRAIT-3 paused. He knelt beside a burned-out wall. There was something drawn in chalk, a child's drawing, a stick figure, a smiling sun, a house. He stared at it. For a long time. No one spoke, but WRAITH-3, strongest of them all, tightened his fists until his gloves cracked. Riven looked at him. Are you ready? WRAITH-3 stood up. His voice was low. I'm past ready. They entered the Zarn War facility just before noon. No alarms rang. No warning was given, because the Wraiths came in disguised as shadows. They struck from above, from beneath, from behind. Alien soldiers screamed, but they couldn't fight what they couldn't see. A single Wraith cleared a room of 30 enemies in under 10 seconds. And then, one Wraith stopped. WRAITH-7 found herself inside what used to be a human school. Now, the aliens had turned it into a barracks. Human desks were thrown into piles. Walls were painted with alien symbols. And there, on the floor, was a small shoe. Tiny. Burned. She picked it up. Her armor didn't let her cry, but something inside. Her cracked. Back at the command room, Commander Riven watched the facility map. Red lights blinked out one by one. Enemy units wiped from existence. Then his communicator buzzed. WRAITH-7's voice came through. Target destroyed, she said. Then, after a pause, Commander, they used a school. Silence. Riven clenched. his jaw. Understood. Leave nothing standing. WRAITH-7 didn't answer. She was already setting fire to the walls not far above. On a Zarn command ship, the alien leader watched the attack in real time. "This is not war," the alien whispered. Another replied, "No, this is punishment." They watched a video feed of Riven entering a reactor room alone. The alien guards opened fire. Riven didn't stop walking. He let the bullets hit his armor. Then he moved like a storm. When it was over, all that remained was silence and flame. Humans who survived in the outer zones had heard rumors. Some said Earth had angels. Some said demons. One man saw a wraith fight in the mountains. He saw the wraith take 5 plasma blasts, drop 5 aliens, and walk away like nothing happened. That man later told others, "They don't bleed like us. They don't cry. But I saw something in his eyes." What? Fire and tears. Both at once. After the mission, the wraiths returned to the bunker. Riven sat alone again. But this time, he didn't touch his dog tag. He opened a small metal box. Inside was a photo. Old. Torn. It showed a young boy with his mother, smiling. Happy. Riven stared at it. He hadn't looked at this photo in years. Because emotions were dangerous for wraiths. Emotions meant hesitation, weakness. But now the war was personal. And something deep inside him whispered, "Don't forget who you were. That's what they want." He stood up, fire in his eyes. That night, the wraiths prepared for their next move. The alien factory was gone. Their next target, the Zarn breeding ships, massive carriers filled with soldiers ready to invade new planets. WRAITH-9 asked, "Are we enough? Just us?" Riven looked at him. "We're not enough," he said, "but we're all they need." He walked to the edge of the map and pointed. "We strike tomorrow." No speeches, no warnings, just justice. The fire they carried wasn't just in their hands anymore. It burned in their hearts, and that made them unstoppable. Because Earth's monsters were never soulless. They were wounded, they were angry, and they were coming. The last monster is human. HFY. Sci-Fi Revenge. 3 billion dead now. Earth's real monsters wake up. Word count 800. Simple English. Third person high above Earth. The Zarn flagship floated in silence. It was the size of a city, armed with thousands of cannons, protected by shields that had never failed. Inside its dark throne room, the Zarn warlord stood. He was tall, twice the size of a human, with 6 eyes and armor made from the bones of conquered species. His voice was cold. "I want him alive," he said. His soldiers knew who he meant. Commander Riven, the man who had destroyed 7 alien bases, the ghost who killed without sound, the monster in black armor. The Zarn warlord had ruled for 200 years, but this was the first time. He felt challenged. Back on Earth, inside the hidden Wraith command center, Riven stood before a hologram of the Zarn flagship. WRAITH-7 crossed her arms. "It's a suicide mission." WRAITH-3 nodded. "We don't have the firepower." Riven didn't blink. "We don't need firepower." He pointed to a weakness in the ship's design, one small entry point beneath the engine core. Only accessible from outside. Only large enough for one person. The team understood instantly. "You're going alone," WRAITH-7 said. Riven nodded. "No one else dies today." At midnight, Riven launched. One small stealth pod. One man, heading straight into the heart of the enemy. He moved through the darkness of space like a shadow. No lights, no signals, no sound. The Zarn didn't detect him until it was too late. He entered the ship's underbelly through a vent the size of a coffin. The metal walls pulsed like a living creature. Alien symbols glowed faint blue. The smell was thick oil, blood, and fear. Riven moved like smoke, through vents, down shafts, past alien guards who never saw him coming. He didn't kill everyone, only the ones who stood in his way, until he reached the throne room. The warlord was waiting. He stood tall, blade in hand. His armor shimmered with energy. Around him were 10 elite guards, each one deadlier than a tank. Riven stepped forward, slow and calm. No fear, just fire in his eyes. The warlord stared at him. "You are just a man," he growled. "One human. What can you do?" Riven dropped his helmet. His face was scarred, tired, but steady. He looked the alien in the eyes and said, "I'm the last monster you'll ever meet." Then he attacked Dot. It was not a fight, Dot, it was a storm. Riven moved faster than the guards could track. His blade sang through the air, striking with brutal precision. 3 guards fell in the first 5 seconds. He used walls, shadows, and there. Fear against them. They were trained for war. He was made for it. Within moments, only the warlord remained, bleeding, furious. "You think you've won?" he roared. Riven didn't answer. He walked toward him, one step at a time. The warlord swung his blade, but Riven caught it with his bare hand. The alien stared in shock. "You're not human," he hissed. Riven's voice was quiet. "No, not anymore. But I remember being human. And that's why I win." With one move, he drove his blade through the warlord's heart. The monster fell hard, forever on Earth. The Wraith team waited in silence. No word, no signal. Then, the sky lit up. The Zaran flagship exploded into flame. Cheers broke out across every human camp. Survivors cried. Soldiers hugged. For the first time since the fall, hope returned. But in the shadows, WRAITH-7 sat alone. She looked at the sky. He didn't make it out. WRAITH-3 said quietly. RAIT-7 stared ahead. He knew he wouldn't. She stood up, wiping her eyes, but he finished the job. They looked to the stars and remembered him not as a soldier, but as the last monster Earth needed. Let Earth remember the monsters. HFY Sci-Fi Revenge. 3 billion dead now. Earth's real monsters wake up. Word count, approximately 800. Simple English. Third person. The war was over. The skies were clear. Again, no more alien ships. No more fire. The Zaran were gone. Their flagship burned in orbit, its remains falling like shooting stars across the Earth. People watched the lights from bunkers, from ruined cities, from caves where they had once hidden. No one spoke. They all knew what it meant. Commander Riven was gone, but his message still echoed across the world. In New Berlin, a group of children walked through a broken park. Flowers grew where ashes once covered the ground. A little girl stopped beside a wall. Painted in bright colors was a picture of a black armored figure with red eyes kneeling. Above it, someone had written in big, bold letters, "He didn't die. He waited." The girl asked, "Mama, is that the hero?" Her mother nodded. "No, not a hero. A monster built by humans. But he chose to save us." The little girl smiled. "Then he was our monster." Far in the north, deep in the ice, the Wraith bunker was sealed once again. Inside, the remaining Wraiths stood in silence. Riven's helmet sat on a pedestal, untouched. WRAITH-7 placed something beside it, a photo. Riven's photo, the one with him as a boy and his mother. Smiling, she looked at the others. "We were built to kill, trained to obey, told not to feel." She touched the photo softly. "But he taught us to remember." WRAT-3 stepped forward. "What now?" She turned toward the shadows. Her voice was calm. "We vanish." And so they did. One by one, the wraiths disappeared. Some returned to hiding. Some walked into the wilderness. Some stood guard in the shadows of rebuilt cities, watching. Waiting. They weren't needed now. But if the sky burned again, they would come back. Not as heroes. As monsters, created and remembered. Years passed. New cities rose. Children grew up hearing stories of the black-armored warriors who appeared in fire, who moved like ghosts and fought like devils. Some believed it. Some didn't. One man, old and gray, stood before a crowd at a school opening. He had once seen a wraith save his village. They weren't perfect, he said. They were not kind, but they were human. A student raised a hand. What happened to them? He looked up at the stars. They became legends. Somewhere far away, a girl in warm clothes walked through a quiet village. She had no name, no home, only a small device in her hand, black, old, and marked with a red button. She pressed it once. Nothing happened. But far above, in the sky, a satellite blinked. And deep under the earth, something turned on. A voice echoed in the dark. Signal. Received. In the final scene, we see a shadowy figure standing at the edge of a forest. His eyes glow faint red. He watches children playing, smiling. He doesn't step forward. He just watches, then turns around and walks back into the mist. Because monsters don't need applause. They only need to be ready. And Earth remembers them. Always.